This podcast contains strong language and adult themes. Listener's discretion is advised.
Hello, and welcome to A Page Too Far, the show where each week, one of us picks a book and summarizes it to the other person. Will it be good? Will it be bad? Who knows? Let's find out. My name is Vin Diesel, and with me as always is my co-host. Wait, when did this turn into Beautiful World? When did this turn into WoW?
God damn it.
I was planning that one for a while. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, there's a news clip out there of Vin Diesel interacting with a reporter who he thinks is very attractive.
He's either really fucked up on something or he's just really creepy.
Yeah.
I cringe just to think about that interview. It was a rough one to watch.
It was hilarious, though.
It was funny,
just how absurd it was.
But it was so obvious how uncomfortable everyone was in that room.
Yes. No one wanted to be there, including Vin Diesel, I think.
That's probably why he was doing it. He's like, fuck this.
Exactly. Just let it end.
Yeah.
If I harass her, she'll go away.
But she didn't ask any questions.
No.
It started, and then she was like, well, thanks for the time. I'm out of here.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it worked. This week's book is called Pitch Black.
I actually knew about this, and I was anticipating it.
I know.
I'm very excited.
I told you about this because I have a special announcement at the end of this episode.
Okay.
Yep. So this is the reason that I kind of cleared it with you ahead of time. So this is the novelization of the first book in the Chronicles of Riddick book series.
Yes.
Which is also a movie series.
I'm a big fan of that movie series.
It's a great movie series. I found out that these books were written for the movies, not vice versa. The movies came first.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Well, technically this book came first, then before the movie by like 2 months. But it was written for the movie. So it was like the movie was in production and development, and then they said, hey, why not make a book?
Yeah, okay, I get it.
So they did.
And it's sometimes just done to promote a film that's going to come out.
Exactly, and that's exactly what it was. This book was written in 1999 by Frank Loria and copyright 2004 by Universal Studios Licensing. So this is like the second edition of the print or whatever.
Okay.
So let's dive in. So we open with Fry, the pilot,
okay,
of a passenger ship headed to a new colony, getting jolted awake by the sounds of alarms going off all around her. She had fallen from her cryopod and landed sprawled on the floor, wondering what's happening. So she was in a pod was sealed. She wakes up, and the first shots of the book, I'm going to call them shots instead of, seconds, is her on the floor saying, why am I on the floor? I was in a cryopod. I should be asleep.
Right.
Logical question.
Right. So you kicked her out maybe or something.
Yeah, exactly. So she's trying to get her bearings, and she sees the real captain. We find out at this point she's the navigator. No, she's not the navigator.
The astrogator.
She's not the astrogator, but that's a good callback.
Oh, okay.
No, we're going to meet the astrogator here shortly. What was she?
That's a good sign.
I don't know what her actual position in this was. Maybe I wrote it down. Maybe I didn't.
She drew the hot baths for everyone.
Yeah, that's it. That must be it. No, because she knows how to fly the ship, but we'll figure it out.
Okay.
We'll piece it together. I'm sorry. She sees the captain just in time for something. Shots, asteroids, something she doesn't know, to pierce the hull and fly straight through the captain's pod.
Okay.
So something pierces through the hull just kills the captain immediately.
Right. At least he went peacefully in his sleep.
Exactly. He had no idea what was going on. Actually, I'm pretty sure he was looking at her and then got.
Wait, he's not in stasis?
He was in cryosleep, but I think there was a malfunction or an emergency.
Right.
An emergency warning went off, and he woke up and died. So he woke up just in time to die.
Yeah, that's not nice.
No,
that's not.
It was not peaceful or in his sleep. I left out a lot of information on this without meaning to. This is a good sign. This is going to be a great one.
Oh my God.
Nah, I'm kidding. It's fine. So another pod opens nearby, and someone falls onto Fry. This is Owens. He is the navigator.
Okay.
The astrogator, what have you.
Does it say, wow, when he falls out?
No, he says, why did I fall on you? Wait, we're 3 weeks out. Why did I fall at all?
Okay.
Because anti-gravity should still be on, because they should still be on their way to wherever their destination is.
Okay.
It's not. There is gravity.
Right. So there's a situation.
Something is going wrong, as evidenced as well by the objects piercing the hull.
Right.
Yep. So they kind of recover, and they open a viewport, and instead of the vast emptiness of space with stars all around, they see a giant planet that they're hurtling towards.
Oh, no.
Exactly. Oh, no.mp3.
Or is the planet hurtling towards them?
I would argue both.
Technically, yes. Technically.
¿Por qué no las dos? They have no idea where they are, but right now all they can think about is not crashing. Logical thought process there. Or at least surviving the crash. So Fry starts trying to level the ship. She sits down in the pilot's seat. So I think she's the pilot. She's not the captain. But when I was reading this, they were interchangeable in my mind, which they aren't because I am just dumb. So she's trying to level the ship, and she jettisons parts of the hull one piece at a time, trying to get it under control.
Right, get it lighter.
Exactly. Got to get the nose up. Actually, I'm pretty sure she says she wants to get the nose down, which I think is the exact opposite of what you would want in that situation.
Okay, what I'm picturing now is that it's coming in belly first, and they're going to lose the parts of the hull because there's too much friction. So she's trying to get the nose down so it's streamlined.
That could be.
And the craft are built so that the nose is tougher.
Yeah, so you can enter and exit the atmosphere that way.
That's what I'm
That
picturing.
makes more sense. That makes a lot more sense.
Out of control, kind of belly flopping. And like, no, we got to streamline it so we don't burn up.
Because they're hurtling towards the planet at this point. But in my mind, they were kind of almost coasting along it, but they're not. They're clearly hurtling towards it. So yeah, no, I just had the wrong perception there. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you. I understand this book. I promise. So she's faced with a dilemma now. She can't get the nose down, but the last piece of the ship she can release houses the passengers that they are carrying. They are a passenger ship.
Okay.
She makes the call. They have to go.
That's not cool.
She's going to jettison them to save herself and Owens.
What a bitch move. You can't do that.
And Owens hears her debating and jumps in, jamming the door between the two sections so Fry cannot release the pod.
Is she a master at it?
Debating?
Yeah.
Perhaps. She debates a lot in this book.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yes. We cut to the POV of a passenger.
Okay.
POV, for those who don't know, is point of view.
Yeah, it's misused a lot on the internet.
Mhm.
For some reason.
Couldn't say.
It's like POV of such and such, and it's not their point of view. It's just them. It's like, what?
Yeah, no, this is this passenger's point of view. For some reason, he isn't in cryosleep, and he never was. He's on this journey in real time.
Okay.
They don't put prisoners into cryosleep, and Riddick was a prisoner.
Did they feed him?
It doesn't say. That never comes up.
What the hell?
He is awake and chained up.
I'm going to assume they have some type of
Like an IV or something?
yeah, it's not called an IV, but yeah, it's like a nutritional drip
Yeah.
that just keeps you alive.
Yeah.
So maybe.
Riddick is looking around, seeing what's going on. His handler, Johns, woke up to the rocking of the ship and looks around. Riddick just sits there staring at him.
One thing I got to say, for Riddick, because I have knowledge of him before this, allowing his head to be mobile is a bad idea.
Yeah.
I feel like you should lock down even his fingers.
I agree.
You should,
I agree.
You should be able to look around.
Get those things where every single joint has like a cuff on it.
Yeah.
And it's connected to every other joint.
Yeah, and then handcuff his eyeballs too.
Or just put him in cryosleep.
Yeah, because he can't get out of that forcibly.
Yeah.
So that would be perfect. Yeah, that's a perfect solution. But no, we have to make him suffer, I guess.
Why aren't we space cops? So Fry manages to level the ship, but as they slide down towards the planet, they do crash into a massive sand dune, and dirt and sand start filling the cockpit. The windscreen breaks,
Okay.
and they kind of slide into a dune, and they're now being buried alive.
I get it.
Yep. We cut back to the passenger cabin. There's a lot of jumping back and forth right now in this section. We cut back into the passenger cabin. Johns is assessing his situation. They crashed. Riddick's locker is now empty.
Mm-hmm.
And John's gun is missing.
Shit. So they got a dangerous criminal who's out on the loose. They don't know where he is.
But John realizes that because the way the crash occurred, Riddick couldn't have his gun. It must have gotten thrown loose somewhere like while he crashed.
Out of those assumptions, I would make the one that possibly keeps me alive longer.
Exactly. No, me too. 100%. All he has to do now is find the escaped convict. And he starts looking around. A girl somewhere around 10 to 12 years old crawls out of a nearby corridor and kind of startles Johns because he thinks, oh, somebody's moving. Who is it? Oh, no, it's just this little girl. And that's when Riddick makes his move. He had been hanging from the ceiling of the ship, and he uses the manacles that are kind of wrapped around his legs.
Yeah.
And he wraps them around John's neck.
Right.
And puts him in essentially a stranglehold. Johns manages to break free, and he slams Riddick head first into the floor, says that Riddick never ceases to disappoint him.
Okay.
You should have just killed me.
I mean, he should have.
He should have. The little girl watches all of this with a blank expression.
Okay.
Just like, oh, okay, I guess that's happening. We cut back to the cabin again. Fry is taking stock of her surroundings as she tries to escape the dirt pouring in. Somebody has a plasma torch and they're cutting into the cockpit from behind. So she kind of waits for a bit and manages to keep clear. They cut through and she's saved. She escapes. Awesome. But it turns out Johns is the one who rescued her. So this is like a little bit of a time jump. Just a
Okay.
little, not much. He helps get her out, and thankfully she has just a few scratches. She asks if there's anyone else, and Johns takes her back into the passenger deck. They go past an...
Go past an
my note says she goes past an Afghan. But that's not what that should say.
Oh my God. What are you doing here, man?
This was, okay, another thing, this was dictation.
Oh,
so this
yeah, you
is
told me
me
about that.
talking into the microphone and the computer recording my words when I was kind of reading and taking notes.
Yeah.
I'm never doing that again.
No, it's
It was
not
the
a good
worst
idea.
experience of my life. It took me so much longer to read the book and take the notes,
Yeah.
and they're shit notes.
Yeah. I can't believe you even tried that.
Yeah.
So she walks past an Afghan.
She walks past an... Well, there is a Muslim character in this, but it's not him.
Oh, shit.
No, I think it's
Okay.
supposed to say cabin. They walk past another cabin
Okay.
where they find Owens, who had previously jammed that one door open.
Right.
Owens is lying in a chair on its back
Okay.
with a metal rod sticking out of his chest.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah.
Casualty.
Yeah. She thinks he's dead, but he jerks awake and just screams, "Get it out, get it out, get it out."
Jesus.
But then when she goes to like grab it, he says, "Don't you touch that handle."
What? Okay.
It'll come out later. They realize that the rod is too close to his heart. They can't touch it without killing him. But if they leave it in there, he's dead.
Why
Anyway.
did he say get it out then if he knew it was like next to his heart?
He didn't. Like he sees it sticking out of his chest. The other people are basically performing triage, and they go, he's dead.
Oh, one of the other people said don't touch it.
No, he said it.
Oh,
He says,
why?
he says, get it out, get it out, get it out.
Yes.
Don't touch that handle.
What handle? On the rod?
That's what we're meant to think now.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes, and that's the best way that I can say that.
Okay.
That'll come up later. So they assume that he's talking about the rod in his chest.
Yeah.
They determine that he is dead no matter what.
Right.
And Fry says, "Oh, there's like a med pack back in the back. We can go get that. We can ease his pain while we put him out."
Right.
The med pack is gone. There are no medical supplies.
Okay.
They assume it got lost in the crash. Fry tells everybody to leave. She's going to do what has to be done. It says Rick watches.
What?
Rick.
Oh, okay. Is he watching her debate again?
Yeah, so Johns and Fry are kind of having like an argument of what they should do.
Okay.
But Riddick watches all of this with curiosity. He's studying the crew and studying the survivors. So there's the crew, which is really now just Fry, and the survivors, which there's the little girl, there's Johns, and then there's a few other people who we'll be introduced to in a little bit. As the other survivors struggle to get outside the ship, we see two named Zeke and Shaza,
Okay.
and they take stock of their surroundings, but all they see is desert. The ship had crash landed in the desert valley, and the barren floor was relieved only by hills on one side, and there were two suns, one red sun and one yellow sun.
Yes.
We find out that Shaza and Zeke are partners. They're not married, but they're like life partners who are also allegedly maybe joint mercenaries.
Okay.
So they have a certain set of skills.
Right.
They don't really go into what those skills are,
Okay.
but they have skills.
Okay. Sure.
Very, very hush hush. This part of the book frustrated me because it introduces these survivors by just talking about what they're doing, and it doesn't introduce them at all as like it assumes we know who they are.
That's not good for a book.
No, it's terrible. It just starts and it says like, oh yeah, and Zeke went over and did this. Wait, who's Zeke? And then, oh, Shaza did this. Oh, who's Shaza?
Is this one of those fucking read along book and tape things? Except for it's like the movie. It's like read along as you watch the movie.
No, but it introduces specifically the three. You have Zeke, Shaza, and then there's another guy named Paris, and it just assumes we know who they are.
Mm-hmm.
We find out more about them later, but I don't just say anything.
Yeah. There are a couple of mercenaries who may or may not be romantically involved.
Exactly. They are, in fact, best friends. So they were hunters who mainly took trophies guiding tourists and occasionally clearing hostile areas of beasts. It is rumored that they're mercenary killers, but whatever they did, they were good at it. That's what the book says.
Okay.
So just some guy named Paris comes up and joins Zeke and Shaza,
Okay.
acting all chummy. There's no introduction for him. Paris asks if they should send out a search party, and John says, do wear all that's left unless you want to go digging.
You should have brought your book.
John says, no, we're all that's left.
Uh-huh.
So we need to bury the survivors.
Okay.
That's wrong. We need to bury the dead.
Oh, you... I didn't even catch that. Oh my God.
That's the classic joke. If a plane crashes on the border between U.S. and Mexico, where do you bury the survivors?
Right. Yeah. Nowhere.
Nowhere. They need to bury their dead. There are 4 other people nearby. They're all Muslim. They're on a journey to New Mecca. 3 of them are young and juvenile, but their leader appears to be an older man, mid-40s. His name is Imam. The other ones don't get names until later.
Okay.
They are Rashad, Hassan, and Ali.
Okay. And you say they're Muslim?
Yes.
I couldn't have guessed. Anyways. Maybe I should cut that out.
I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. It's funny. They hear screaming and abruptly stop. They hear the screaming abruptly stop.
Right.
So they know what happened. Fry did what had to be done.
Okay.
Owens is now no Moens.
He's wowing up in heaven now.
3 young Muslims fall to their knees as if to pray, but there's a flurry of confusion as they try to... Oh, Microsoft, you didn't.
What does it
No.
say?
They fall to their knees as if to pray, and there's a flurry of confusion as they try to orient themselves. Orient is capitalized.
Oh no, Microsoft.
Can't believe you've done this. But there's 2 suns. Like they're having trouble finding a direction.
Because they have to face...
They have to face New Mecca.
Right.
Yep.
Where the fuck is that?
They don't know. They would know if they
Right.
could find where north is.
Here's the compromise, because
Yeah.
there's 4 of them, right?
Yep.
They each face a direction.
Do you want to know what they do?
They each face a direction?
They each face a direction.
Ah, yeah! I'm proud of them. I'm proud of them.
They each pick a compass point and
Right.
and,
they're like, hey,
go from there.
one of us has got to be correct, and the one that is correct will vouch for the rest.
exactly. The heart is in the right place,
Right.
and they're doing the best they can. So now there's a bit of discussion about what they're going to do, the survivors in general, not just the 4 Muslims.
Right.
And if they're going to send out a search party to kind of like scout and take a look at the lay of the land. They all congratulate Fry on the job. It spells Fry 4 different ways, and it's funny every time. This is as much a commentary on Microsoft's dictation as it is on the book.
Yeah, fucking mess.
Yeah. So Fry's being congratulated, but all she feels is extreme guilt because she wanted to nix these people.
Right.
We get a little bit of insight into her at this moment, just kind of like what a character she is. She does what has to be done. That's kind of her mindset. She's had to do that since she was young.
Okay.
So at this point, they kind of realize, and they've known this, but they take steps to avoid it. The atmosphere has a lower oxygen level, so it is breathable, but they get out like oxygen kits and rebreathers
Okay.
to try and sustain themselves. Riddick doesn't have one. Everyone else does.
Riddick doesn't need one.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Riddick's fine.
We find out at this point that the little girl's name is Audrey, and that she ran away from home, and she's a stowaway. Shaza takes a liking to her because she's got spunk. It censors the word spunk.
What?
Yeah.
We're fucking American. Cut that shit out. God damn it.
So this is the first thing that I kind of wanted to talk about that's different from the movie.
Okay.
And this is the biggest thing. We know Audrey is a girl.
Yeah. In the movie, he's presumed a boy.
Right. She has short buzz cut hair.
Yeah.
She will get there shortly, but now she has long hair.
Right. And that's I forget how that even plays out in the movie. It's important.
It plays out almost the same way,
Okay.
except it's not a reveal.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just she's a girl from the beginning.
Exactly. They also start addressing Fry as captain, and she doesn't deny it. She just kind of accepts it. So they ask Johns about Riddick, and Johns says that he's incredibly dangerous. They ask, is he really as bad as they say?
Right.
And Johns replies, only around humans.
What?
He's only dangerous if he's around humans.
That's the dumbest fucking thing you can respond with.
This is the one-liner king of just trash one-liners.
That's like, don't even fucking talk, dude.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, he'll only kill you if he's around you.
That's what we're talking about, dumbass. Is he dangerous around people? That's what it means.
Apparently. Fry notices Riddick kind of licking one of the panels of the ship.
For moisture, I would presume.
She realizes that their life support has damage and that the water's leaking down the side.
Yeah.
So he's getting the last bit of water.
I do love that Riddick is just a lot better at surviving than everyone else. And he's not telling anyone shit. He's just like, gotta take this chance.
He's observing everything, taking the chances that he gets, and just doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah. He's like out surviving everybody every time.
Exactly.
And it's entertaining.
That's his shtick. But now they need to find a new water source.
Right.
So we shift perspectives here and we go into a bit of the mind of Riddick. We learn that he had been an Army Ranger. We get backstory.
Okay. What does that mean in space terms?
As well as he was a ranger for the company. which is
Okay.
referred to with a capital C. So it's the company. So he was essentially a low-level thug.
Right. Muscle.
Yeah, exactly. He was assigned to a planet that had monsters on it called Spitfires. They were called that because they spit fire.
Oh, well, there you go.
Exactly. Short, sweet, and to the point.
Also, Riddick and planets with monsters.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, it was his job.
Okay,
that point.
I guess it makes sense.
At that point, it was his job.
That's where he feels most comfortable, maybe.
Exactly. But these Spitfires had motion sensors instead of eyes. Their vision was based on movement. He learned how to stay perfectly still, and he also learned how to deal with the task at hand. There's one line in there that says that he and his buddies would throw dice to find out who would be the decoy for the Spitfires. So effectively, one person would run in and like get their attention and then freeze, and then the other people would see them moving and kill the Spitfires coming in.
I love it. That's
Yeah,
great.
It's very interesting. But it also says he lost a couple of times until he learned how to cheat at dice.
It's kind of like a rodeo clown.
Kind of, yeah. Very similar, except a lot more dangerous.
Yeah.
We find out that he was promoted, and eventually he was given the rank of security guard on the planet, which basically meant that he could do whatever he wanted as long as he kept the slave racket going through that particular planet.
Oh my God.
The company gave him free reign. He murdered, he killed, he did all kinds of crime. Eventually, though, it became too much for him, and he realized how corrupt the company actually was, so he has a change of heart after murdering, killing, raping. It doesn't explicitly say raping, but
So
he did.
he's been taking care of a slave trade, and then
Yeah.
after a while, he's like, I don't think this company's on the up and up.
Exactly. It shifts on a dime,
Yeah.
and he starts to try and narc on them.
Okay, but did they ever establish at one point that he had a conscience?
No.
Okay, so it's really out of nowhere.
Uh-huh.
The Force chose him
Yes.
and changed his morality or somewhat.
He woke
I
up
don't know.
one day and said, what if I didn't?
What if I was a good guy?
Yeah. What if
But
this world was
he's not,
beautiful?
though.
No, he's not.
He's not a fucking... God damn it.
They branded him a criminal and sent him, they tried to send him to prison, and all of his evidence just disappeared. Right. So they disappeared him. That's why he's a prisoner. But he is a criminal. It literally says he murdered all kinds of people because he could. Now they want you to believe that he's got a good heart, but he's actually a terrible person. So we kind of covered that. He eventually escaped a series of prisons and jailers and was on the run when Johns caught him. At this point, Riddick is secured to a bulkhead. He has essentially a rigid cuff binding his arms together behind his back.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's not handcuffs in the sense that his wrists are close together. It is effectively a piece of rebar
Right.
between his wrists that's maybe a foot long or so.
Okay.
He looks up and he notices that the bulkhead he's attached to kind of sheared off a bit from the actual ship. So with his arms behind his back, he starts to lift them over his head, dislocating his shoulders.
Oh, God.
Moving his arms up, getting the piece of rigid metal between the bulkhead and the ship hull,
Right.
putting it back and relocating, for lack of a better word, his shoulders,
Yeah.
like popping them back into place. But they've still rotated like a full 360, and I don't think that's good.
Yeah, I don't
and
know,
it doesn't say that he fixes that. I
think,
just feel like all your muscles are now in...
Yeah, I don't know how that works. I think every time you dislocate a joint, you're doing damage.
For sure.
So like permanent damage. Like,
Yeah.
If, I don't know, unless you're really desperate, you wouldn't want to do that.
And I think he is kind of desperate at this point.
Kind of, but I feel like later he could just bargain, be like, I can get us out of here alive.
Yeah, maybe.
You have to let me out of these.
Potentially. But no, he can get out, so why not?
Sure.
He doesn't have to rely on anyone.
It's a party trick.
Yeah, just pop, lock it, drop it.
He's the best at pop and locking.
Yeah, it is like a brutal image, though.
Yeah.
My shoulders hurt just thinking about it. So we join the crew, and they are taking a look at their stock. Paris exclaims that he has drinks for them, and they go and open up his exhibit, which is what I call it for lack of a better term,
Okay.
because he's an antiques dealer.
Right.
So he just has all kinds of like antique weaponry. They say he has King Tut's tomb, which is wrong because it's his sarcophagus.
Yeah, that's no.
Yep.
Okay.
But they open up the sarcophagus, and inside they find all the liquid that they could want, as long as it's booze.
Oh, okay.
It's just filled with expensive alcohol.
Also, I'm really confused
Yes.
about. Obviously, at the time this was written, King Tut's tomb was the biggest thing in
Mhm.
archaeology.
Mhm.
But this is set way in the future, right?
Yeah.
There's no possible way that sarcophagus still exists.
And some guy's flying coach with it.
Yeah, like it's a fucking like what is it? Is it either made of stone or gold? I don't know which.
I couldn't tell you.
I think the smaller one is made of gold and the larger one is made of stone.
That makes sense.
You're not carrying that around. Also, why would you want to carry it around? That's
To hide your booze.
I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate that.
No, it's one of the worst sections of this whole plot device.
Also, how expensive is that to just have all this really heavy baggage that you have to take around with you? Maybe he was transporting, I guess, but why would you... Like, you don't transport that on a transport ship. You transport it on, like, a cargo ship.
Yeah. He regrets he makes a comment where he regrets his decision to try and save money.
That wouldn't save you money. It would be more expensive.
We don't know the economy.
Dude, no, just...
Hey,
logically, passenger ships are not equipped to handle
but there
really
are higher
loads.
end ships that he could have taken that would have gotten him there faster and more safely. That's its point.
I don't like it.
I don't either. It's terrible. It's garbage.
Let's forget about this guy as quickly as possible.
Cool. They mention all kinds of good brand liquors, and they go into detail about how good Glenfiddich is.
Is that a real brand?
Glenfiddich is a real brand of liquor. I think they make
good?
whiskey.
I have no idea.
I haven't had it, but I'm told it's good, and it's like $400 a bottle
Ooh, fuck.
for the cheap one.
Okay.
Johns goes to check on Riddick, and he finds out that he's escaped. He starts to organize a search party, but he realizes that the other party members don't really take him seriously. They don't think Riddick is that much of a danger. They ask him if Riddick left. If it's typed right, I'm just stumbling. They ask him if Riddick left, why would he come back for them? Like, why would he try and hurt them if he's already bolted?
Yeah.
Johns replies, I don't know. Maybe because he wants to kill you. Maybe because he's going to skull fuck you in your sleep.
Dude, just shut the fuck up.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I get it now. He's a joke.
Exactly. He's a caricature of a badass.
How did he
Capture Riddick in the first place?
Yeah, what the fuck?
We don't actually find that out.
Oh my God. Don't do Riddick like that.
We just know that he captured him. We don't ever really find out how.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe Riddick saw an opportunity to get somewhere.
Maybe just wanted to mess with him.
Maybe? I don't
know. So Zeke and Shaza managed to manipulate the oxygen system so that they can supply oxygen on demand and not in a constant flow.
Okay.
So like you can go in, take a puff of oxygen, and then go about your day.
Right.
And then go back for another puff when you need it. So they're not just spewing out oxygen. And it'll last a bit longer, which is really cool. So it shows how inventive they are. Fry and Johns are standing at the top of the ship scouting, and they notice that it's getting a bit darker and a bit cooler. So they're going to wait for nightfall. But they see a blue glow off in the distance, and they put together that they found... So stay with me here.
Okay.
They found pieces of Riddick's chains going off in the direction of the blue glow.
Okay.
Yep. And they question what's ahead. We do find out a little bit about Fry's backstory here. Her parents were killed, and she had a lot of harsh sacrifices that she had to make. It's a very similar description to Riddick. They both learned how to do what they had to do.
Right. Survivors.
Exactly. They are also talking about how they have to go find water or else they're going to die.
Right.
So it's kind of like a multi-purpose conversation. They start to gather their party, and as they start to move, they realize the blue glow ahead is a third sun.
A blue sun.
A blue sun that is now rising. So there is not going to be a nighttime on this planet. Imam says that we take this as a good sign. Blue sun means blue water, and that is the way that they should go. That is word for word from the movie and the book.
I don't remember that.
It is
blue
God's blessing.
Sun.
Blue sun means blue water.
What do the other suns mean? Do they cancel out the blue sun?
Well, the red one would mean you could see in 3D.
It's like I can touch you. So, multiple suns.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
There are planets that revolve around binary stars.
Mm-hmm.
There's no such thing as a 3-star system.
I wouldn't know.
There's binary stars. There's not 3 fucking stars together.
There is in this world.
Okay.
Yep, because it's cool. So now, and this is why I said I want you to stay with me, John says that that's the way Riddick went, because he left his chains in the other direction. But earlier they said he left his chains going towards the blue glow.
Yeah, fuck.
But now he left them in the other direction.
Yeah.
So they just completely swapped which direction Riddick went. But they say that now the definitive answer is that he went towards sunrise because he left his chains going towards sunset.
Okay.
Even though he had left his chains going towards sunrise, and now Johns is just wrong.
I don't know.
Which I don't know if it's a logical, because it went from an observation to a character saying something.
Right.
So I don't know if it is an actual error or if it's an in-character where he's just wrong.
I don't know either.
I don't know. Because the whole book paints him as a wannabe badass who isn't.
Yeah, so you could just be flat out wrong.
So he could just be flat out wrong. I don't know. It could be a factual error where the author got confused. It could be something where the character itself is what the flawed author, is that what it's called? The untrustworthy author?
Unreliable narrator.
Unreliable narrator. There it is.
Yeah.
That. We're not sure. But definitive answer now, Riddick went towards Sunrise.
Okay.
That's where he went. Johns gives Zeke a pistol and says, 1 shot if you spot Riddick. Keep your eyes out. Zeke says, but what if Riddick spots us first? And Johns glibly replies, then there's going to be no shots.
Okay.
Except the dude left. But anyway, as the party moves out, Fry and Imam have a bit of a discourse on like what it means to journey to New Mecca and what their goal is. They're trying to find themselves on this pilgrimage.
Okay.
The very absolute basics of the Islamic religion that anyone who doesn't know anything about Islam knows about Islam.
Right. Okay.
It's just there is no depth to this religion in this character. But it's all that he's about. Fry seems to doubt herself a bit, but she knows what she has to do.
Okay.
She has one character trait.
She knows what she has to do.
She knows what she has to do. So eventually they spy trees on the horizon, and Imam is very grateful because trees mean water.
Unless it's not a carbon-based plant.
Well, as they get closer, they realize that they're not trees. They are the dorsal bones of giant monsters.
Nice.
The skeletons of giant monsters.
Yeah, it's the classic crate dragon skeleton on the
exactly.
dunes of Tatooine. Yeah.
Exactly. The bones have a fungus growing out of them that made it look like a tree.
Oh, why
Yeah.
the fuck is fungus growing on bones?
Couldn't tell you.
Okay.
They hear a piercing moan break through the desert, and it slows their blood.
A moan.
Just a high-pitched moan.
They hear that and they're like, what the fuck?
I knew you were going to do that. I put here, pause for a moment. Zeke, Shaza, and Paris have remained behind back at the crash site. So you have 2 parties now. You have Zeke, Shaza, and Paris at the crash site.
Right.
Technically 3 because Riddick's off doing who knows what.
Okay.
And then you have Imam, Rashad, Ali, and Hassan, which I'm
Okay.
very happy that I remembered their
I'm
names.
proud of you, yeah.
Fry and Johns investigating.
Okay, so the Scooby Gang is split up.
Right. Audrey is also back at the crash site.
Okay.
So Paris is on lookout at the top of the ship, and he's just kind of lounging and drinking booze. And he says one of my favorite lines ever,
Okay.
which is, it's amazing how you can do without the necessities of life so long as you have some of the luxuries.
It's pretty good.
It's a good line.
Yeah.
It's bullshit.
I mean,
But it's a good
yeah,
line.
if it's a necessity, then you cannot, by
Exactly.
definition, live without it.
That's the whole point, but that's why I love it. It's a great line. So Zeke tells Paris to keep a good lookout, and just as Paris takes a sip, he feels a blade across his throat.
Oh, shit.
Yep.
It's fucking Riddick.
Nope, that's when the little girl Audrey says, this is probably how he'll get you, right across the jugular.
Oh, my God.
Riddick's so good you'll never know he's coming.
Where the fuck did she get a knife?
I don't know. It also says knife, but it could just be something
A ragged piece of metal.
a ragged piece of metal, something like that. Paris does have an antique weapon collection. It could be one of those, but it's
Oh,
not
shit.
specified. But she had cut her hair short, and she wears goggles to imitate our story's hero. So we cut back to the search party now. Fry and Imam and Johns, along with Imam's 3 charges. They are examining the graveyard of the giant beasts. They question whether it is a graveyard or a killing field. They realize that one side of the bone has been exposed to sun a lot longer than the other,
Right.
but they aren't really sure what's going on. There's some hijinks between the 3 boys. They start like banging bones on each other, trying to make sounds and that kind of thing. Like
Okay.
one of them like drags a bone across a rib cage like a xylophone, and it makes all kinds of different noises.
Okay.
Johns flips his lid.
Yeah, because he's like, only skeletons can play bone music.
He tells him to be quiet, and he's kind of being like a hard case the whole time. So Fry starts to eventually chillax, and she just kind of sits down, takes a rest for a minute, and Johns finishes searching the graveyard, but she never notices the figure that is hiding in the bones just above her.
Okay.
Yep. So I imagine she's sitting down in kind of the shade
Right.
underneath something, and he's like in the skeleton above her. We shift perspectives now to Riddick. Riddick watches Fry. Fry starts walking away, and she kind of stops herself and kind of leans up against one of the bones. Riddick positions himself behind it silently, and he has a shiv that he's ready to use to cut her neck. But John starts to approach and offers Fry a drink.
They don't see him directly above?
He is now behind Fry, and Fry is leaning against a bone. So it doesn't describe it well.
Okay.
But from the movie, I know she's leaning up kind of against a rib cage,
Right.
and he is back inside the rib cage.
Okay. I get it.
So he's hidden by all the bone.
And
But
plus
he can
it's
see
bright
out.
out. You don't see
Exactly.
things very well in the shadows.
Exactly. And Johns has already kind of searched the area. He's letting his guard down a little bit,
Okay.
that kind of thing. So Fry steps away from the bone, and Riddick realizes he's kind of stuck there for a moment, but might as well listen to see what's going on. Johns asks what Owens meant when Owens said, don't touch that handle.
Okay.
So he said, get it out, get it out, get it out. Don't touch that handle.
Right.
Everyone assumed he meant the rod sticking out of his chest, but Johns knows there's more to it. Johns knows that something was up and he's trying to guilt trip Fry. It works. She confesses that she is not the captain, that Owens was trying to stop the docking pilot from ditching the passengers, and that she was, in fact, the docking pilot. There we go. She's the docking pilot. I did write it down.
Okay.
Riddick hears all this, and it fascinates him. And he goes from wanting to kill Fry to wanting to observe her, wanting to see what she would do because she has the makings of a mass murderer. He wants to push her and see if she's as twisted as he is.
This is all of a sudden turned into Hannibal.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Johns and Fry almost finish the bottle. Riddick sees that there's one good swallow left, and John sets it down later, as if he's pondering what happened. He then looks back at the bottle, and he realizes, hey, there was one swallow left. I set this down as a decoy. The bottle's now filled with sand.
Oh, shit.
So at some point, between him setting it down, kind of wandering away and looking back,
yeah,
Riddick has taken it, drank it, filled it with sand, put it back.
Yeah, that's a total fuck you.
Exactly. He knows that Riddick was toying with him. So the party continues moving through the boneyard, and it gets kind of narrower and narrower. The bones get closer together, and eventually one of them, they kind of like narrows until it opens up again.
Okay.
And then one of them finds a very strange fruit. Just a very strange, it's a desert fruit that they think might be filled with water. Until Fry looks at it and realizes that it's an old rotted baseball.
Okay. How the fuck does a rotted baseball look like a fruit?
I imagine that the leather had, you ever see a baseball that like the stitching's come undone and it like opens up and you have, so I imagine it was like open with the core. It looks kind of like that. I don't know.
It's still not a fruit to me.
It's not a fruit, but this is a strange world. They don't know what it is. Why would there be a baseball?
Okay.
Yeah.
So baseball, human activity somewhere nearby.
Exactly. That's exactly what they take it to mean. Why was the baseball here? There's got to be some humans nearby.
I mean, unless someone drove a hell of a home run and it ended up here somehow.
That ball would have been flying for millions of years.
Possibly.
Through space.
Unless it was Goku that hit it. It was going
That's true.
faster than light.
That's true. So now they realize there's people here and they have to find them. Except Johns. Johns realizes that this is just the kind of trap that Riddick would set up. He would give them an old familiar object and then lure them into a trap. Dude's just straight up paranoid.
Yeah, I just want to tell him, like, why don't you just fucking marry him already?
Exactly.
Like, you're on his dick so hard.
Get a room.
Yeah, like, stop.
Yeah, it's upsetting. There's also some kind of weird pinnacles that are sticking up off in the distance. Fry's concerned about what they are. She doesn't know if they're like mineral deposits or, if they're like what termite mounds would look like. She has no idea. But they're kind of out there and she's curious. They crest a hill and one of the young Muslims, Rashad, gives a cry of joy because at the bottom they see a compound.
Okay.
There is an outpost, but if there's an outpost, why weren't they able to find this planet on the astrogation charts?
Okay.
So they tried to find this earlier and they couldn't find anything. There's no record of this place. Why was this planet not charted anywhere? They move into the settlement and they don't see anyone. They see like an abandoned bicycle. They see some rubble. They realize that whoever was here at one point, they're now long gone. From the photos in the walls, they determined they were humans. They were just regular settlers. They see pictures of water at some point. So they see pictures like a garden and grass and that kind of stuff. And they see somebody with like a waterfall. So they realize there's water.
Right.
Like there was water here at some point.
But you said they realized they were humans.
Right.
But there's a fucking baseball and a bicycle. What else would they be?
You're assuming that baseballs and bicycles haven't been imported somewhere.
I am. I'm just going to say it hasn't. I'm like, no way.
Yeah. But it's confirmation though.
Okay. Yeah.
It is confirmation. Fry veers off on her own and she goes like into another house and she starts kind of throwing things aside, like investigating. She throws aside some curtains.
Right.
And she jumps as there's a figure standing right outside the window. She relaxes for a second when she realizes it's Johns.
Okay.
Yeah, he jump scares her. Dude's a complete creeper. Just gonna say that.
Well,
but
yeah.
He says, hey, don't go far on your own. Fry hears a noise behind her, and as she turns, she sees an orrery. Do you know what an orrery is?
I have no idea what that is.
Orrery. Orrery. It is a model of a solar system.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Specifically designed to calculate the movements of the planets and that kind of thing. So like an actual, not necessarily to scale, but an actual model of the cycles of the planets around the suns.
Right.
Yep. This one looks like it was solar powered. So when she opened the windows, it started to receive power again. It slowly came to life. And as she moved the curtains away, she sees there's 3 suns next to this planet. So she realizes this is the same solar system. She wanders out back and there's still ragged clothing hanging from a clothing line across a railing. But there's nothing but hot sand and rubble for as far as the eye can see.
Right.
She catches a glimpse of something metallic, and she starts running. She identified what the piece of metal was. It was a runway. There's a space skiff
Okay.
parked on the runway,
These ships need runways?
apparently.
Okay.
Looks like a shiny metal insect, but it is their salvation.
What a completely unnecessary description.
So the others soon join her, and they rejoice at their newfound freedom. Imam goes on about how good God is, and he's provided proof that there is water, and now a means of escape.
Proof that there was water.
You are correct.
And we don't know if that bitch can run yet.
We remember what I said about character depth.
Right.
So we cut back to Zeke and Shaza. Zeke is digging graves in the sand, and he's getting really worn out.
Is he the only one doing that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, he's the only one digging. Paris is keeping watch. Audrey is freaking out Paris, and Shaza is like scouting around the local area.
Okay.
So the scouting party went out to find things. Shaza's looking at what they have.
Okay.
Zeke is digging graves. There are 3 corpses next to him that they had salvaged from the wreckage. Paris is keeping watch on top of the ship. He sees a shadow underneath him. He gets up to look, but he can't make out what it was.
Oh, no, that's just my own shadow.
He yells to stop, but there's no answer. He goes to investigate, and he determines that it had to be Audrey messing with him. He calls out to her, and she says, "What?" But it sounds really muffled. Couldn't have been her.
Okay.
She's obviously far away. Paris gets confused because, I mean, she was right there. Why does she sound muffled? She's messing with him, so obviously that had to be her. What's going on?
Logically.
He basically says, "Hey, tell me that was you." And she's like, that wasn't me. She asks what's going on, and Paris just kind of blinks it away like, no, she has to be messing with me. Shaza also calls Zeke. Oh, no, Audrey calls for Zeke.
Okay.
There was no answer. They look, and in the distance, they see Zeke kind of throw down a shovel and sigh, and they start to tour the ship. Audrey then sees something else. She mouths to herself, "Riddick." Paris starts to freak out, says, "No, no, 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 not Riddick, no, 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 no." A shape appears in the doorway. Shaza swings down hard. She misses, but they see another settler. They don't see Riddick.
Okay.
This is another survivor from the crash. She says, "My God, I thought I was the only one. I thought I was the only one." And then gunshots end his life.
So, someone they don't know popped up?
Someone they don't know. This was another survivor. They didn't know who it was.
Okay.
He's never named.
He got shot.
Everyone's freaking out, and they just hear Zeke say, "Oh my God, I thought it was Riddick."
Did he just shoot a random asshole because...
He shot a random survivor because he thought it was a mass killer.
Dude, fucking...
An alleged mass killer at that. An alleged mass killer who has left them alone so far.
He needs to shoot himself.
He should. He doesn't. But he gets over it very quickly, too.
Yeah. Someone thoughtless enough to just shoot a random person.
Yeah, isn't going to have a conscience.
Right. They're not going to give a shit afterwards.
Yeah. Now, Riddick is watching all of this. He's not 20 yards away. He's actually sitting in Paris's perch where he was keeping lookout.
Nice.
And he just kind of stand there watching. Zeke goes to dig another hole. So Fry and the scouting party, back with we're going to call them the A-team,
Okay.
though they're kind of not split up for much longer. They're looking at the ship, trying to see how good of shape it's in. And it seems that it could work. It just needs some juice. If they can get some power from their ship and bring it back, like some power cells,
Right.
they could probably get it going. Johns just pauses for a second, though, and he says, "Wait, I thought I heard something. I thought I heard my pistol go off." But then nothing happens, and they decide, you remember the thing he said where, "Hey, fire once," and
Yeah.
I mean Riddick's coming?
Yeah.
He hears gunfire and then just says, "Nah, must be nothing."
God damn it.
It's great.
How does Riddick move around in a brightly lit desert without being seen?
He's tanned the same shade as the desert, I guess.
And he's not wearing clothes?
And he's wearing, I think he's wearing a wife beater.
Yeah, I remember it
serves.
being a black tank top.
Yeah, maybe, I think it's gray.
Maybe gray.
Yeah.
But anyways, it's
Yeah.
very hard to hide in an open desert.
Yeah, you would think.
Like, how did he get from the bones back to the main crash
Right, with nobody
site?
seeing anything. And
Yeah.
when Paris is keeping watch and Shaza's like messing around.
Yeah, it's
And
like...
Audrey's out there. I don't think Audrey would say something even if she did see him, but no, it doesn't make
he
sense.
tunneled back.
He's just wherever he needs to be at the time.
Right, yeah. This, with the exception of one or two moments, this book really feels like it was written by, I don't know, a 16-year-old.
Yeah. Honestly, it feels kind of like reading this and comparing it to the movie, it feels like scenes are out of order in the movie. It feels like they were edited differently. Like it was filmed differently and then edited to be the way it is now.
Right.
And the way it is now because they jump from team to team instead of doing one continuous story. I think it would have made sense if they did it the other way. But it's still a good movie. So that's really all that happens. They hear gunshots, decide, oh, it must be nothing. And then we cut back to Zeke, who's digging his graves.
Okay.
He'd finished digging the grave, and as he's going to lift the body in, he realizes there's a strange hole in the bottom of this grave.
That he just dug.
He dug the grave, and he realizes, like, oh, I must have dug into something.
He didn't realize that when he was digging.
Nope.
Okay.
He crouches down at the mouth of the tunnel, and there seems to be an opening to a burrow beyond. He doesn't even have time to light his flashlight, though, as something through the I'm going to rephrase this.
Something through the groin.
Yeah, no, I said it once because the words are there, but something from within the gloom slashes at his leg, and he feels himself being dragged deeper and deeper into that burrow.
Okay.
Riddick is watching this.
Right. Yeah, he's always watching.
He's always watching. We can just assume he knows everything.
Yeah.
He sees everything. He's been focusing on Zeke's breather. So Zeke has like the oxygen breather. Riddick wants it.
Okay.
He doesn't get it.
Why does Riddick want it?
Because, I mean, he doesn't have oxygen. The planet has low oxygen. Everyone else has these oxygen suppliers, and Riddick doesn't.
I thought Riddick could deal with anything.
He's getting lightheaded.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
He's still acclimated. Riddick realizes there are predators around. He's been waiting for a chance like this. He edges closer to the grave, and he's going to go in and get that breather, but there's nothing inside the grave except for blood.
Shit.
Yep, missed it by that much.
Also, I really want to put in like a Chris Hansen joke, but I don't know how to do it. So,
He's going to go and catch that predator.
yeah.
Yeah.
Gonna ask that, I forget what they're called.
Pedophile?
No. Fuck the fucking monsters.
Oh, they don't have names.
I thought they did.
No.
They're called stalkers or something.
No, there were the Spitfires.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, they do have a fuck. I'm looking it up.
They don't have a name in the book.
They-
and it's never said in the movie.
What? They have a name, though. I'm looking it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's what they're called. They're called bioraptors.
I disagree.
That's what they're called.
All right.
Anyways, Chris Hansen tells one of the bioraptors to have a seat. There, we can move on now.
Can I at least eat my pizza?
He's just munching on Zeke.
Do you see that? There's a clip where a guy
did.
brings a pizza in and he's like, hey, can I at least eat
It's
my
the most
pizza?
boss move ever.
Yeah. Your life is over. Might as well enjoy that pizza.
Yeah.
So everyone heard the shots back at the ship? Shouts. Everyone heard the shouts back at the ship, not shots.
They didn't hear the shots, which are louder
No.
than shouts?
So these are the people at the ship. Zeke shot the guy. So
Yeah.
they did hear those shots.
Yeah.
But what I should have said, because this is later, this is after Zeke got pulled in the grave,
Right.
they heard him shouting.
Okay. And they didn't hear that. Gotcha.
They heard his shouts, but
Oh,
they
they
can't-
did?
They did hear the shouts. So we're going to take this from the beginning.
Yes.
Now, everyone back at the ship heard Zeke shouting.
Okay.
They all look, but they can't see because he directed a tarp up for shade. So
Okay.
he's digging. He's digging in Three Suns. He kind of puts up like a lean-to kind of thing.
Right.
They can't see beyond it. So Shaza starts running across the gravesite. She freezes as she comes face to face with Riddick. She glances into the grave and begins to scream because all she can see is her best friend's blood,
Okay.
allegedly.
And Riddick did it.
And Riddick did it. So now we're going to go a bit faster because we kind of know who the characters are. For the record, this was 6 pages
Okay.
of notes out of 9 total.
Oh my God.
We are just halfway through the book.
Wow. It doesn't feel like it at all.
No. At this point, Riddick he just bolts. He just starts booking it the other direction.
What a coward.
Well, maybe.
Come on, man.
But he gets tackled by Johns,
Again.
who had come back apparently.
Yeah, is Johns awesome or is he a dumbass?
Yes.
He just seems to be able to catch Riddick whenever he wants.
He that is his one ability. Everything else, his charisma is 0. His
Yeah.
strength is like a 12 and his dex is like a 20.
And his intelligence doesn't seem to be that high.
No.
It seems to be average, maybe.
Yeah, average intelligence, low wisdom.
Yeah.
So he takes Riddick prisoner again.
Okay.
He captures him.
The paladin took the thief
Exactly.
or the rogue hostage.
So there's a discourse now with Fry, and he's kind of like hung up in the ship again. But
Okay.
this time he's really secure because his arms aren't tied together. They're now, he's almost like spread eagle.
Right.
Like not the Vitruvian Man, but kind of. Fry is kind of curious. She wants to know what's going on. So she goes over and she starts to like talk to him. Find out like, why are you here? What's going on?
Okay.
Riddick says that, his favorite place to kill somebody is the 4th lumbar down. They call it the 4th lumbar aorta.
Okay.
Yep.
So, artery.
He describes the taste of blood and how metallic it is, but he likes to cut it with peppermint schnapps. But that's kind of more of a winter drink, and it's summer now, so he'll just take it. He'll just take it neat.
Okay, so he's trying to scare her.
Exactly. Audrey happens to be witnessing this because she's also everywhere Riddick is,
Right.
and She just basically says, oh, that's cool.
This kid is fucked up.
Yeah. Fry realizes Riddick's wearing goggles the whole time.
Right.
She says, why are you wearing goggles? She lifts his goggles and she sees his eyes. His eyes are described as black orbs with yellow plates in them.
Right.
Audrey asks how he got those eyes. Look with your special eyes. My brand. And he gives the famous description of how he got his eyes, which I have left room for you to quote.
Gotta kill a few people. I can't do a Vin Diesel voice.
Very few people can.
Gotta kill a few people. Then you gotta get sent to the slam, where they tell you you'll never see daylight again. You dig up a doctor, and you pay him 20 menthol cools to do a surgical shine job on your eyeballs.
So you can see us sneaking up on you in the dark?
Exactly.
Yes. That is the monologue, and it is fantastically delivered. It is amazing.
Yeah.
It's also bullshit.
That is bullshit. Because he's a species, right?
He is, but we don't know that yet.
Okay.
We don't find that out in this book, actually.
Yeah, no, it's later they just retcon.
Yeah.
They're like,
oh,
no,
by the way.
he was born that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They do fix it, though. And basically, when she confronts him again, she's just like...
She's grown up.
She's like, you're lying. And he's like, yeah.
That's one way to fix it, I guess.
Yeah.
I actually prefer that original take, though.
Yeah, me too.
It's
a lot cooler.
Cooler, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, he also says, hey, I'm not the one that killed Zeke, which is what they all assume, of course. There's something more dangerous than me out there.
Right.
His classic line. So they send out another search party, and they go to look in the hole because whatever got Zeke is in that hole. So Fry goes in, and she finds a shoe with part of Zeke's leg still inside, but before she can say anything, the leg is snapped out of her hand by something. She starts to scream and run, and she has like a rope harness around her because they realized Zeke didn't, so they couldn't pull him out. So she has like a harness around her that is being held by the people outside.
Okay.
And she starts to run and climb inside something. She realizes it's one of those pinnacles.
Okay.
But something grabs a hold of the line.
Okay.
So she can't move now. She's like stuck inside this thing, trying to just not get eaten. She starts screaming, as I'm sure she had been the whole time. And Audrey hears her voice coming out of the top of the pinnacle. Like she can hear, it's like, oh, her voice isn't coming from this hole. It's coming from over here.
Right.
So she runs over and she's like, she's in here. And Johns and Imam bust through the side of the pinnacle and pull Fry out.
Okay.
As they're talking about what happened and how it couldn't have been Riddick because something down there got Zeke, like they found his shoe and Riddick was standing there. Like he didn't have time to do that. Fry is pulled backwards because the chain that was attached to her is still inside the pinnacle and kind of looped around.
Okay.
And she's holding onto the sides. Imam takes a knife and cuts the rope. Actually, no, I'm wrong because it's a chain. He cuts her belt, it says.
Okay.
So it's like tied to her belt, I guess. It's summarily snapped back down into the abyss.
Yeah.
To meet a fate unknown. Fry, she lost control. She is sobbing hysterically. She has no idea what to do.
Aww.
She's like at her wit's end. Then she gets over it. Now they have a goal.
Oh, she gets over it because she realizes that's what she has to do.
Exactly.
Is get over it.
Exactly. So the survivors now need to get the power cells from their ship to the skiff and get off this rock as soon as possible.
Right.
Johns goes over to Riddick and he says, hey, we need your help. I'm going to cut you loose. And he shoots Riddick's chains holding him.
Why? Why do you not just unlock them?
And then he says, I spared your life. You're going to help us get off this rock. And at the end of it,
John spared Riddick's life?
yes. There's, I guess I should say that. So he shoots the chains and then he points the gun at Riddick.
Yeah.
And he says, now, I spared your life. I want you to remember how this could have gone.
Okay.
He's pointing a gun at him.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, I saved your life as I'm threatening to kill you.
Yeah, that's
But I
like...
saved your life.
That's what fucking, like, high schoolers do. They'll trip you and then catch you.
Yeah.
And be like, oh, you almost fell there. I just saved you.
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly.
fucking asshole.
Yeah, exactly. It's you saved him of a situation you put him in.
Exactly.
Yeah. But he says, I saved your life. I want you to know how this could have gone and didn't. And at the end of this, there may be a way I can ditch you. Riddick says, if I were you, I would ghost me right here.
Just, okay,
good advice. Just kill him.
Okay.
Yeah, ghost him.
Because ghosting has multiple meanings.
It's true.
If I was you, I wouldn't message me back ever again.
Which I guess would be kind of what Johns meant when he said he's going to ditch him here.
Yeah, I guess.
And I mean, he could have just been agreeing with him. But then he grabs the shotgun out of John's hand, aims it at John's head, and says, I want you to think about this moment, how it could have gone and didn't.
Okay.
Just immediately playing the line back.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Nope, me neither. But then he does something better where he just starts to cock the shotgun and eject all of the shells, and they're just falling onto John's.
Classic
It's
action
hilarious.
movie
Yeah,
thing. Yep.
it's great. So they carry some materials back to the skiff, and Riddick is just kind of biding his time because he knows he's going to get a chance to escape eventually. Now in the village, Imam, Ali, Rashad, and Hassan.
Yeah.
3 for 3 on the names.
Have they done anything yet?
They find a water converter.
Okay, good. Okay.
I'm sorry, a moisture recovery unit, excuse me,
Right.
an MRU.
They go to like... I'm just picturing them wandering onto Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru's farm and just jacking one of their moisture
Evaporators. They have a small source of water.
Okay.
They realize they're going to need a lot more power to power the skiff. So they start doing some calculations. They realize that they're going to need to like get into gear because they have the fuel cells from the ship, which weigh 75 kilograms each.
That's heavy.
Very.
Fuck.
And they need 5 of them, I think.
Oof, wow. Okay.
Somebody asks, where's Riddick? And Riddick is nowhere to be seen.
Okay.
So Riddick is exploring the town. He finds a dwelling, and as he goes in, we cut to the perspective of Audrey and one of the Muslim boys, Ali. They're watching Riddick. Yes, they're kind of exploring together. They're just following Riddick.
Okay.
Ali wants to be like Riddick too,
Okay.
and he's enthusiastic and adventurous. And Audrey wants to be like Riddick, and she's enthusiastic and adventurous and
Bloodthirsty.
bloodthirsty apparently, and timid. Not timid, but she's not a person. She's not a big personality. Ali is
quiet.
boisterous. She's quiet.
Right. Okay. That makes more sense. That she's
Yeah.
quiet.
Yeah. Johns appears from behind Riddick and says, "Hey, you're missing the party." And Riddick gets frustrated and he kicks at the door of the dwelling.
He goes, "Ugh, you never let me do what I want to do."
Exactly. But at this point, I'm not sure how much I'm ascribing to the characteristics of forethought and how much the author actually intended. So I don't know at this point, and we're going to talk about this later a little bit. I don't know how much is Riddick actually planning ahead
Right.
or just convenience.
Yeah. Which is a problem because,
It's the Jack Sparrow effect. You don't know what's a plan and what's not.
It's so fucking. You never ever fear for that thing or person,
Right.
Because, like, God damn it. There's some books that actually lay out exactly what the character is thinking.
Right.
And then you see it pan out, and it's like, oh, they're using their brain to get through this.
Exactly.
So they're not invincible. They're just smart.
Right.
But things happen. They could get unlucky. But if someone is just always just lucky, it's
Yeah.
like, whatever.
The book says that he sees a shadow shrink inside, and then he kicks the door and it opens a little bit. So he can kind of see, and he sees a shadow moving away from the light because he like dusted off the window.
Right.
Sees a shadow moving away. Then he kicks the door open when John says, "You're missing the party."
Right.
He also sees a sign that says coring room. I forgot to mention that.
A what room?
Coring, Coreing.
Okay.
We'll find out what that is in a
Core
minute.
samples, maybe.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Okay.
There's no point in hiding. We find out a little bit later that the settlers are geologists and they were
Right.
taking samples of the earth to see what happened. I don't know.
The monsters are little earth golems that are like, "You're taking our rocks."
Yeah.
No. And they kill them.
Yeah, exactly. But we know that Ali and Audrey are watching Riddick, and he opens it just enough for one of them to crawl inside.
Okay.
So whether he did that on purpose or not, we don't know. Audrey scuttles back and follows Riddick because she wants to see what he's going to do.
Right.
Ali thinks, "Oh, I can prove myself now." So he climbs down and he goes into the coring room.
Okay.
So now we're shifting to Ali's perspective. He's exploring the room and there's kind of some clicking around him. We hear some click, clack, click, clack. And he moves a curtain, and as it moves, sunlight pours into the room and it falls onto a nest in the rafters.
Oh, okay.
And the nest explodes to life.
Right.
1 billion tiny creatures start flying out of it, flying around the room, and then they start to chase Ali.
Okay.
He runs away, still in the room. It's a big room. He runs away and he finds like a dark supply closet. He opens the door and runs inside the supply closet.
Oh, bad idea.
Closes the door, and he has like a little cut on his arm, but otherwise he's fine until he hears all the clicking behind him.
Yeah.
So you may have noticed that every pause that I've mentioned and every time we break, and honestly, it's every chapter break, everything is a cliffhanger.
Oh, yeah.
I am sick of it.
Yeah.
Every single paragraph break, like when it shifts perspectives, it always ends on a cliffhanger.
Right.
I hate it.
It's a little annoying.
We cut back to Riddick and the gang. They're going over what happened and wondering why people left in such a hurry, but left all their stuff behind. Riddick says, no, whatever got Zeke got them. They didn't leave on their own. That's what happened. You don't leave with your clothes on the line, your paintings on the wall.
Right.
Paris says, well, what if they had a weight limit when they were getting out? And he says, well, you also don't leave your emergency, like you don't get your emergency skiff out of its hold unless there's an emergency.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Now they also notice Ali is missing. And Riddick just casually mentions, hey, did anyone check the coring room? Which
Riddick,
makes me think that he did do it intentionally, that he kicked the door open intentionally.
So he intentionally had a little kid just get eaten.
He intentionally had a little kid explore something that he was curious about.
Still fucked up.
Yes. Very.
Yeah.
Why do something yourself when you can have someone you don't care about do it for you?
Yeah. He's not a hero.
They hear screaming right now as
Okay.
well. John kicks open the door to the coring room and they find Ali, who had been torn to ribbons.
Okay.
A host of flying creatures like a flock of birds flies out of the closet and down into the drill hole in the center of the room.
Right.
And they drop a flare down and they find the only logical thing down in the bottom of that hole. Lots of human remains.
Oh, okay.
Lots of skeletons.
Right. Okay.
The remains of the settlers of the camp. So the party freaks out and they start wondering why would they lock themselves in? Because the door was like chained on the outside. Riddick kicked it in.
Right.
Why would they lock themselves in here? Those creatures seemed to stick to the dark because they were disturbed when light shone on their nest. They realized that they were hiding from those creatures. The settlers were.
Right.
They ran for cover because the creatures came on them all of a sudden. Just millions of tiny creatures showed up, started to try to eat them. So they ran into the coring room, locked themselves in. But they forgot about the drill hole.
Uh-huh.
And the creatures came up through the drill hole and ate them.
Classic. Forget about the drill hole.
Exactly.
It's not the coring room. It's the gory room.
Hey, how long you been sitting on that one?
For like 2 seconds. I was formulating it as I was saying it.
There's a part here where Shaza kind of cuddles up to Riddick. Not cuddles up. That's the wrong phrase. She warms up is what I meant to say. She warms up to Riddick.
him. Okay.
And she says, maybe you didn't kill Zeke. I'm sorry. I misjudged you.
But he did send the kid in there to get eaten.
She doesn't know that.
Oh my God.
And she says, well, here, like this oxygen unit has like a couple puffs left.
Right.
Why don't you take it?
Oh, he hasn't had any oxygen yet.
He hasn't had any oxygen this whole time. And he throws it on the ground and says, what, it's broken? And she's like, no, I'm just trying to be nice. And then she walks away. And he picks it up and takes a couple puffs. And sure enough, she wasn't lying. He just assumed the worst.
I don't like this whole...
He's a terrible person.
Well, yeah, but like that's such a juvenile thing.
Yeah. He assumes the worst of people. So if somebody's offering him something nice, there must be something wrong with it.
But I get saying like something like, oh, I'll bet it's broken. But he grabs it and throws it on the ground.
Yeah.
And says, it's broken. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Why throw it on the ground?
Because it's worthless if it's broken.
Yeah,
and he assumes it's broken.
I don't like it.
I know.
He's like a little child doing that.
He is a big bald baby.
This is ruining Riddick for me.
Yeah, a little bit. They go back to the orrery.
Right.
And at this point, they see it just tick over year 19, year 20, 21, 22. On the 22nd tick, a giant planet comes between the suns and their world.
Right.
Their world becomes pitch black.
Yes. Dun, dun, dun. All right. Now that we've covered this, I want to say something.
Yes.
So ordinarily, this planet is completely covered by light from the suns.
Yes.
How does that work?
It's never explained, and I don't want to speculate.
Because I get multiple suns,
Yep.
being like two suns.
Yep.
We'll take Tatooine, for example.
Yep.
2 suns, still has a day and night cycle.
Mhm.
It makes sense.
Yep.
But a planet having 3 suns, which doesn't make sense, plus those suns are always covering the planet. I don't get where the 3rd sun is.
So in the model, it is in a straight line. So it is little planet, giant planet, sun, sun, sun.
I get the blackout. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But the planet is going to be spinning on its axis.
Right.
It's going to be revolving around these suns, presumably.
Presumably.
So it will be facing away from them at some point. It will at one point be, one side will be facing away from all 3 suns.
What if it's in the middle of the suns?
That's what I don't get. Like, a planet would be ripped apart if it was between 3 stars.
I don't know.
Plus, like, the way binary stars work is the 2 suns revolve around each other very
Right.
closely.
Right.
So that would be 3 revolving very closely. So if a planet was in a position where it was always lit, it would just burn up and fall apart.
It's lit, fam.
I don't like it.
It doesn't make sense.
No, nothing makes sense
But
in
they
this
also
book.
don't try to explain it.
Right. So it's not science
Which
fiction.
I'm okay with.
It's not science fiction, it's fantasy.
In a way.
This is a fantasy novel.
It is I would call it a sci-fi fantasy.
There's no science. There's no science.
They have an orrery, and you're telling me there's no science.
Because that orrery doesn't match up with their reality, apparently.
What about the technological advances of a spaceship with cryofreeze? Is that not science?
Cryofreeze is fantasy. That is not science.
It is not science fact, but it is heavily featured in science fiction.
It's a dream pipe of a technology. There's no way to reverse a freezing process.
I understand this.
It's impossible.
I am not questioning that.
So it's not. Well, it's not science,
But
at
it's
all.
fiction
Yes, fantasy fiction.
based in wrong science.
But wrong science isn't science.
But it was science at the time, right? Like it was something that they could have thought possible. Like Star Trek and
Maybe.
all of that. Not all of it, but a lot of it is presumed to be on technology that could happen.
It's
Somewhat.
Star Trek is all based on theorized science.
Right. We don't know that this isn't because we don't know enough about this.
There's no theory about 3 suns
We
lighting up a planet.
we don't know. We
No,
don't
I
know.
I know for a fact. I'm a scientist. There's no theory about 3 stars and a planet.
You may be a scientist, but I'm a Scientologist, and I know what I'm talking about.
God damn it. Fine. I'll give you money if you don't kill me.
So Riddick asks the group, "Are you afraid of the dark?"
Get off the stage.
Fry starts to work the group and get them working to fix the shuttle. And she said that they need to get the power cells from their ship, and John stops her. Riddick is an excellent pilot, he says.
Right.
He comes up with the brilliant idea of maybe screwing Riddick over. What if we leave him on the planet but use his strength to get the power cells? Like, get him here
Yeah.
last minute, then ditch him so that he can't take the ship. So, like, use him to get the power cells here last minute,
Yeah.
ditch him so he can't take the ship. Why not just kill him?
Well, they need his muscle to move the power cells.
They don't, because right after this, Shaza finds a Sandcat, which is effectively like a solar-powered ATV kind of thing,
Okay.
and they could just use that.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. They should kill him.
But they don't. John says, "Let's fuck him over." And Fry points that out and says, "You want to fuck him over?"
Yeah.
And John's is like, "Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, why not?" So Fry's reluctant, but she does start to go along with it. They start to work on repairing the wings. Riddick somehow then confronts Fry alone in the cockpit.
Okay.
And he says, "It's strange that you haven't actually tested this yet. It's almost like John's told you about what happened." We find out that Riddick killed the pilot of his previous prison ship,
Right.
stole the ship, then John's caught up with him and captured him, and that's why he's here. So Riddick says, "It's almost as if John's told you about my last escape attempt, and that's why you haven't tested the ship yet, because you know if it starts, I'm gone."
Okay.
Which is
also-
exactly right.
They could also start it and not tell him.
I think it'd be kind of obvious.
Also, they're doing repairs on it,
Yeah.
so starting it isn't enough. Is he good at repairing?
Right. He would. I don't know.
I feel like that's worse if you repair and not try to start it, because then all he has to do is get it started.
Right. Well, that's what they're doing. And that's why it doesn't make sense. Because that's what they're getting it ready to fly and then seeing if it will
Yeah.
fly, instead of seeing if it will fly and then get it ready to fly.
Right.
But I guess if it starts, he could theoretically fly it somewhere else on the planet, fix it, and then go. I don't know. So Riddick now says, "Oh, by the way, Johns, who's been flashing around like a cop badge, he's not a cop.
No, he's a bounty hunter.
Yeah, he's a bounty hunter.
Yeah.
But we don't know that yet.
Oh, okay.
You know it.
I knew that the whole time. I don't know.
So Riddick is worth twice as much alive as he is dead. That's why Johns is never going to shoot him.
Why is he worth twice as alive?
I don't know.
Whatever.
It doesn't
I
say.
don't even remember
This is
that,
Riddick
but
talking. We don't even know if that's true. He does say it in the movie.
He's such a huge liability, though.
Yeah.
Who would want him
But he's
alive?
worth twice as much. They want to torture him. I don't know.
Okay.
Oh, and by the way, Johns is also a morphine addict.
Yes. Okay. I remembered something about someone being addicted to morphine.
Yes.
So
you did.
yes, he is a morphine addict.
Yes, Johns is an addict.
Yeah.
And Riddick says, "Hey, maybe ask him why your friend in the ship had to die in agony with no pain meds." So Fry goes to confront John, immediately taking the word of the socialist.
He's not a no. Riddick is not a socialist.
What's the word I'm looking for? It's not a psychopath. Sociopath.
I thought you were going to say social outcast.
No, I was going to say sociopath.
Okay, sociopath, I guess.
Yeah. Fry goes to confront Johns and finds him actually shooting up.
Okay.
They go through a thing where he has blue shotgun shells and red shotgun shells.
Okay.
His blue shells are his actual shotgun shells, His red shells are the ones he hides his morphine in.
Okay, that seems kind of backwards.
A little bit. Yeah.
Most shotgun shells I've seen are red,
Same.
not blue. So,
Same, but this is space. I think they also called it a laser rifle at one point, which doesn't make sense why it would have shells. But I could just be mistaken about that.
Yeah.
But John's kind of blows her off, and he's like, hey, by the way, the reason I'm addicted to morphine is because Riddick went for the sweet spot, but he missed.
God
So
damn it.
I feel part of that shiv inside me now because they had to leave part of it in there.
Yeah.
So I take the morphine to dull the pain.
His house.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Except I would argue he's less functioning.
Yeah, he's less functioning, nowhere near as intelligent.
And not as charismatic either.
No.
But that's why he shoots up. So they're disturbed by the party yelling for them, and they go out to see the world starting to darken. They race to the Sandcat that Shaza has fixed up, and they speed back to the ship. This is everyone now. Everyone's
Okay.
running back.
Yeah.
They get there just in time to see a massive planet looming overhead. They start loading the Sandcat, but they aren't quick enough. The planet engulfs the suns. The party races back into the ship, so they had been loading the Sandcat. Now they're running back into the ship, but Shaza and Riddick are caught out in the open.
Okay. Yeah, I remember in the movie they didn't have the Sandcat, right?
They did.
I don't remember that at all.
They
remember them
had it to
running.
get to the ship, but because it's solar powered, they had to ditch it. I watched it like 2 weeks ago. That's the only reason I know that.
Okay. And is that what happens in here, or they just taking it back?
No, that's what happens here. It is also solar powered.
Oh, okay. Full fuck.
So-
Okay.
Yeah, so the world is starting to darken. The Sandcat is solar powered. Shaza and Riddick are caught in the open as the beat of night hits.
Okay.
We see huge swarms of millions and millions of these flying creatures start to flock. They say it's almost like a flock of birds, how they call it like a hyper-intelligence or hyper-awareness of intelligence, where they all move in the same pattern, in the same way.
Yeah. It's there is a term for that.
Yeah.
Um.
They don't use that term,
Okay.
but there is a term for it. As they start to fly towards Shaz and Riddick, who are running towards the ship.
Right.
And this is the crashed ship, not the escape shuttle. Shaza and Riddick dive to the ground, and the swarm flies just over them. Shaza kind of gets a little nervous, and she's freaking out now. Zeke is dead. She doesn't know this. She's been on hundreds of worlds with thousands of monsters,
Yeah.
but this is starting to get to her. She looks around. The coast seems clear. She gets up and starts running.
Okay.
As she gets up, Audrey shouts, "No, just stay down." And Riddick actually reaches a hand out for her to try and stop her.
Why?
Because as soon as she gets up, the swarm tears through her and tears her apart.
But why does he give a fuck?
Because she was nice to him, actually. She gave him 2 puffs of oxygen.
Fuck off.
He doesn't say anything. He just kind of reaches a hand out towards her. So it's a very no risk, like, if I stop her, awesome. If I don't lose any face.
Okay. I'm so confused about what Riddick is.
At this point, he is an enigma wrapped in a mystery who looks like
Yeah.
an egg.
He's maybe just how the reader might be feeling in the moment.
He's an egg in
I don't know.
He's an egg in a
In a bigger egg.
no, he's an egg in a wife beater. That is what Vin Diesel is.
Are wife beaters specifically white?
He's an egg in a tank top.
Okay.
Shaza is torn to ribbons. She's actually torn in half, and then the top half of her screaming. She got Darth Mauled,
Okay. Yeah.
and then the top half of her still screaming gets taken down into one of the pinnacles that's sticking out.
It's horrible.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
Absolutely horrifying. But then Riddick looks around, makes sure it's the coast is clear, and he gets up and starts running,
Okay.
and he makes it back fine. He looks out through like a crack, and he can see, he takes off his goggles, and he can see in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
Someone says, "What do you see?" And he responds, "Like I said, it's not me you need to worry about." So now there's no actual light. In the ship, they just have a plasma torch and some like flares at this point.
Okay.
As they sit, they try and decide what to do.
Yeah.
And as they're debating, some of the small ones manage to make their way in somehow. They
Right.
don't know how they got in. John shoots a couple with his gun, and this attracts more.
Oh, of course.
They start to claw open the doors, and the party runs further into the ship, but they're being pursued. So John's is kind of on point with the shotgun. They're cutting through some of the bulkheads with the plasma torch, trying to make their way back. But the creatures are following them, kind of, and they're trying to like block them up and stop them where they can. I don't know how big this ship is. It doesn't seem that big, but now there's just all this room.
Yeah, I remember in the movie it was not that big.
No, but yeah. So as they're running, Riddick realizes, oh, the creatures are herding us back to where we came from, because he steps in the corpse of a small, I'm going to call them bats at this point. They're not bats,
They're bioraptors.
but they're also not described.
Right. Okay.
They're described as a swarm. They're definitely winged, and they effectively eat through anything like a razor blade.
Yeah.
Yeah. flying piranhas, flying fictional piranhas, because piranhas don't really do that. They don't really swarm.
Well, no, they frenzy,
Yeah.
which is different.
So they talk about how the bats are finding prey using echolocation. They realize that they find things based on sound.
Okay.
Riddick realizes that they're also cannibals. We see a little one eat another little one.
Okay.
That's how they survived underground. If there's a billion of them, some of them gonna get eaten.
Yes, but that's not a sustainable, like,
But it only has to be sustainable for 22 years.
that's
Allegedly.
That's a long time. How? Because there's obviously other species on this planet.
At one point, yeah. We don't know if there's any more. We don't see enough.
I'm assuming that. God damn, there's so many fucking problems. Like,
Yeah.
if this is a cycle that happens,
Yep.
then I don't know how species on the planet could have adapted to this environment at all.
Right. I mean, you would think there would be some difference in evolution.
Yeah. Like, I get the bat things that live underground to come out when it's dark.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work for all the other ones, I would
No.
think.
And
And you need other species for them to live off of.
my theory is that they were a parasite, almost like zebra mussels in the Great Lakes in the Northeast.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
So they're an invasive species
Right.
that was brought in.
Okay.
The zebra mussels are becoming a big problem in the Great Lakes where
Okay.
they're completely invasive and they are like destroying the ecosystems.
Oh.
Yeah, it's really sad. They're also like impossible to get rid of. But the book gives no backstory,
Right.
but neither does the movie, but I am convinced that they were brought into this planet somehow and then they destroyed it.
Question is, why were they brought to this planet?
That's the question. So we shift to Fry's perspective and she sees Riddick having a stare down with one of the big bats. So there's two types of creatures now.
Okay.
You got your little flying swarmy ones
Yeah.
and you got your big, like person size
Yeah.
flying. They look like hammerhead sharks with wings.
Right. Yeah.
And he is just kind of staring at one that's staring back at him. He has Ali. No, not Ali.
Audrey?
Ali's the one. No. It's one of the Hassan.
Okay.
He has Hassan in a headlock, like forcing him to stay still.
Wait. Why does it matter to stay still if they don't have any vision?
We're going to get to this
Okay.
because Riddick realizes that they're hunting and they're hunting things. I can't. I can't. Not because of anything I wrote. This is not that mistake. This is the book
Yeah.
being stupid
Yeah.
because they're hunting things based on movement.
But they.
The only thing that I can think is that when they're little, they use echolocation
Yeah.
and then they develop a sense of
motion around
either
them?
motion or 3D mapping using the echolocation
Okay.
to where they can just see things, but only when they move.
I'm going to say that their heads, since their heads are large,
Yep.
they've become, as they get older, they get very sensitive to even the most minor vibrations in the air, so
Mhm.
that any movement at all would disturb the air, and they can sense that.
I dig it.
Yeah, that's my headcanon.
I dig it. Hope they don't go out in a blizzard or a windy day.
Yeah.
Hassan pisses himself because he's in a headlock, being forced to hold still,
Right.
staring at one of the big things,
Yeah.
one of the hammerheads. Now a bat is testing Riddick with its talon, seeing it's like drawing its talon across his scalp. It's not drawing blood. It's just seeing if he moves or if he's part of the ship.
Okay. Yeah.
He freezes. We've learned that he can do that
Yeah.
from before. It then moves down and like perches on Hassan's chest and kind of scratches his torso, and it does draw a little bit of blood.
Okay.
Hassan just books it.
Okay.
He wriggles free from Riddick and just he doesn't get 2 steps before he's torn to shreds.
Right. Yeah.
So we're now down to one Muslim boy and Imam
Okay.
in that group of 4. The one being Rashad. Nailed it. So Johns appears as Riddick starts to run as well, because now they're in a kind of they're almost starting to frenzy because they tore up Hassan, and Riddick knows that like, oh, I'm gonna be next.
Right.
Just by being here. So he starts to book it. Johns appears in front of him and shines his light, kind of like a flashlight gun on his shotgun.
Okay.
I'm sorry, a flashlight on the end of his shotgun.
Yeah.
Shines his light at Riddick behind him, but it blinds Riddick temporarily. Riddick dives and the light hits the big bat, the hammerhead.
Okay.
The hammerhead freaks out, and Johns shoots it.
Wait, okay, wait a minute. Something just occurred to me.
Yes.
They don't have eyes.
Yes.
Why do they give a shit about the light?
Because they look at it now, and as the light hits them, the skin starts to dissolve. They realize that the light is physically harming the creature.
Okay. So
It's not blinding it.
right, it's literally hurting it. Okay, here's something I don't know. Maybe you know.
Maybe.
Is light from a flashlight the same as light from the sun?
Not from our sun. Maybe it's from this sun. I don't know.
Okay. Because light from the sun is, well, fuck. Okay, so UV radiation is separate from
Light.
light, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, it could just be the pure photons.
Right.
That's, again, not explained. None of these people are scientists.
Okay.
They realize that light actually hurts the creature, and that's why they hide in the dark. And then when the eclipse occurs,
Yeah.
they all come out.
It's like a teenager.
Exactly. They need to get back to the skiff. They need to get off this world. Obviously.
Yeah.
But it makes a point of reiterating it. They use Paris's alcohol stash to make Molotovs.
Okay.
Molotovs is the wrong term, but they put wicks in and
that
make
can
torches.
be used as
Yeah.
a Molotov. Okay.
And they light them. So they now have a couple of flashlights, John's shotgun light, the fusion torch, and then some of these bottles of alcohol.
Right.
They set up a sled, which just existed on the ship. They had a sled. So they set up a sled with all the light that they have, and they realize that Riddick is the only one who can get them back in the dark because they don't know where they're going.
Mm-hmm.
Except for the fact that they drove a goddamn car and they could just follow the tracks because they have light.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
They didn't either until later when they do.
That would be a great moment, though, to where they're like, how do you know where you're going? And he just points at the ground and there's the tracks from before. That'd be a great moment.
That's effectively, it's not what happens, but I wish that's what happened.
Right.
This gives way to one of my favorite jokes in the book.
Okay.
I've said that a couple of times. My favorite line is you can do without the necessities of life as long as you have the luxury.
Right.
This is my favorite interaction, my favorite joke.
Okay.
Johns asks Riddick, hey, how's it look? Riddick says, it looks clear. Johns pokes his head out and a swarm rushes up in front of him and over the top of the ship.
Yeah.
He comes back and he says, fuck, I thought you said it was clear. And Riddick says, I said it looks clear. Well, how's it look now? He looks clear.
It's not bad.
It's hilarious. And it's just deadpan, and he gets a shit-eating grin in the movie, which is why I love it so much.
Yeah.
It plays just as well in the book. They shove off into the darkness. There follows a long sequence where Riddick is leading them in circles a couple of times. He's trying to buy time to think, because the tracks lead through kind of the canyon. You know, I said the bones kind of formed a narrowing entrance.
Right.
Riddick realizes that's Death Valley. If they go in there, he can see all of the creatures kind of hanging out in there.
Okay.
So he knows if they go in there, they're dead. So we got to figure out something to do.
So if they go in there, the creatures just won't mind the light anymore.
I'm saying. Johns realizes when they cross the car tracks for the third time that something is wrong.
Okay.
Follow the damn car tracks, Johns. Leave Riddick and follow the car tracks.
Yeah.
Paris freaks out, and he there's a scene where he's kind of being a bitch, and he's like, I don't want to be in the back because, we got to go. It's also, I completely forgot to mention, they did load the power cells onto the sled. That's why they have the sled.
Right, yeah.
So
I figured.
forgot to mention that completely. So they have the power cells now, and that's why they're going back to the skiff. Paris wanders out into the dark, and he's never seen again. Riddick says he can see him being torn apart. Or well, Riddick's point of view can see him being torn apart. He goes out much better in the movie. In the movie, he wanders off into the dark. It does happen, but then he takes a drink from his spirits and holds up he has like a lighter, and he shoots fire into their faces, and then
that's cool.
And he goes out with a bang, and it's really cool. Here he just wanders off and is eaten. Really sad. They did him dirty. He wasn't a character, and then they did him dirty. At this point, Johns realizes that Riddick is playing them. He's really not, but he realizes they are. So this is why Riddick is buying time, because there's a part here that is a reveal in the movie, but it is not here, where Audrey is a girl and she's bleeding. She's having her first menstruation.
Okay.
Which they ask her if it's true.
Right.
She says, I'm sorry, but if you knew I was bleeding, you would have left me behind. Riddick says, yeah, we would have.
Yeah.
And everyone kind of comforts her, and then they try to figure out what to do. They flip the sled over so that it's now riding on its like rails that it had, like side rails.
Okay.
It's riding on its rails. Audrey is like crawling along underneath it.
Okay.
to protect her because she's the one that they're going to go after because she's bleeding.
Okay.
And now they hunt for blood. Never established before. Audrey's underneath the sled. Fry, Imam, and Rashad are pulling the sled with the power cells.
Right.
Johns and Riddick are scouting up front. So now Johns realizes what's going on. He's confronting Riddick, yada, yada. They decide to move on.
Okay.
So they start walking again. Now pressure's getting to them. Fry says they should just go back to the ship and hide.
Right.
John says, no, this was your idea. We're going. Like, we're going forward.
Okay.
Yep. But what do you care since you were going to eject us all anyway? Why do you care if we die?
Now it comes out.
Now it comes out, right? The whole thing happens. Comes to a head. But literally everyone blows it off and doesn't care. There is no consequence. There is no confrontation. Fry says, stop bullying me. And John says, no. It's not word for word what happens, but that's what happens. So Riddick walks ahead and Johns joins him. John says maybe they should ghost one of the survivors and drag them behind the sled to use it as bait to keep the monsters off of them. He wants to kill Fry. Riddick says, well, hey, what if we kill you instead?
Yeah.
They fight. There's only one rule. Stay in the light.
Okay. They stopped everything just to say, all right, we got to have a duel here.
No. They have their own lights.
Okay.
The rest of the team moves forward. They're just now walking.
Okay.
With the sled, which has the plasma torch and the lights all around.
This is so stupid.
Yeah. So there's now kind of two groups. They're very close to each other, but they're not right next to each other.
Right.
So you have Riddick and Johns fighting, and the sled and everyone else moving forward.
Okay. From what we know of Johns and Riddick so far, I feel like Johns would just deck Riddick because he's apparently really good at it.
Apparently, he's done it like 4 times.
Yeah.
He loses handily.
Except for the... Well, I mean, there was the one moment where Riddick just took the gun from him like it was nothing.
Right. That one time.
So it's,
Yeah.
It's not clear at all what their skill levels are.
No, Riddick is never at a disadvantage in this fight. He wins without a thought.
So I can only conclude that he wanted to get captured each of those times.
That's... I don't know.
I guess.
That
or because this time he's in darkness, he has an advantage.
Maybe, but yeah, they are lit up enough to have the creatures off their backs. So
Okay.
who knows?
Who knows?
But Riddick finishes the job, essentially. He gets behind Johns and slices open his...
he gets behind Johns and finishes.
He slices open the sweet spot,
Right.
and Johns is torn in half by a hammerhead. Riddick joins back up with the sled,
Okay.
and Fry says, "Where's Johns?" And Riddick says, "Which half?"
I don't like it.
All he says is one-liners. Every single thing he says is either a one-liner or a
But
lead up to a one-liner.
It's not good at all. It's like, it's
Yeah.
not good at all.
No, I didn't say they were good one-liners. They were one-liners.
I could think up a better one-liner than that. Here, I'm going to think up a better one-liner right now.
Where's Johns?
He split up.
That is better.
Thank you. And that was the first thing that came to my mind. If I spent more time on it, I could come up with something better.
Yeah. At this point, they flip the sled upside down and they use it as a shield. So Audrey's crawling underneath the sled. The sled is kind of riding on, it had like side rails and it's now riding on those. And the cells are they're being carried by Riddick.
Okay.
So
I got to stop for a second. You said there were 75 kilograms.
75 kilograms. There are 5 of them. He is carrying all of them.
I did a quick calculation.
Yes.
That's 825 pounds.
I believe you. I don't believe you.
That's what it came up with.
675 pounds.
No.
75 is 150.
It's 165 is 75 kilograms.
Oh, pounds.
Yeah, pounds.
I was thinking kilograms.
No, yeah, 825 pounds. So that's not impossible.
It is very difficult.
It is a world-class effort.
Yeah.
But he's whatever. He's Riddick.
Yeah.
In the sand, too. Fuck. His calves are going to be feeling that tomorrow.
I'm saying. It gets real bad. They make their way through the canyon and they start running. At one point, Riddick turns and he comes face to face with a bigger bat.
Okay.
A dead bigger bat.
Okay.
Just the skeleton. It had been eaten.
By the others.
By the others. He studies the skull and he realizes if he stands directly in front of it, in the center of its head,
Yeah.
there's a blind spot where, because of the way the sockets are positioned,
Right.
it can't see or hear whatever it does right in front of it.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yep. He makes a note of that for later.
Okay.
Here's a hint. It comes up almost immediately.
Okay.
So they make their way through the canyon, and Rashad trips over a pile of corpses of bats and bigger bats,
Okay.
and he falls out of the light and is never seen again.
What a lame way to go out.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a scene where like Imam is like reaching for him, but he just doesn't get it, and then his hand is like dragged backwards. Imam freaks out and says God has abandoned us, which is the first time that he's lost faith. Then it starts to rain,
Okay.
making things a lot worse because now it's muddy, and most of their light is from either a plasma torch, which wouldn't really be affected by the rain, I don't think,
No.
and bottles of alcohol that are affected by a downpour. And it's not just raining, it is a downpour. They kind of move forward. Riddick finds a cave for them to hide in, and they get everyone in, and then he covers the opening with the debris and says, I'm going to take these cells to the ship.
Okay.
So he leaves. Now, Fry doesn't know if he's protecting them or burying them.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
logical thought. Riddick makes his way to the skiff, and he powers it up, and there's a moment here where he has a conscience battle. He battles with his conscience. He tries to make himself forget them,
Right.
but he can't. There's an itch in the back of his mind. He even breaks his light so that he can't go back to get them. In the cave, Fry, Imam, and Audrey realize that even though Riddick left, there's still a faint light. All of the lights had gone out, but now there's a faint light. There are glowworms in the cave that give off light in the darkness.
Okay.
Little blue, not phosphorescent, but
Bioluminescent.
bioluminescent. That's the word.
Yep.
Bioluminescent glowworms. So they still have the bottles of alcohol, even though the flames aren't lit. They empty them and just fill them with these glowworms. So now they have something
Okay.
because the rain had been so damaging. Fry moves aside the cover and leaves to go find Riddick. She says, I'm going to get him and we will come back. She finds him ready to fly. She demands he goes back with her, and he says, hey, what if you come with me? I got a better idea. Let's leave.
Just leave the others.
He extends his hand and says, I'll make it easy on you. Just take my hand. Come on. She wants to. She is terrified, mortified, horrified. She grabs his hand and uses it to judo flip him out of the ship.
Okay. Since when was she like?
Since now.
Okay. Okay.
He pulls his shiv and holds it to her throat. He says, would you die for them? And she debates internally, masterfully.
Yeah. She is a master debater.
She says yes. Yes, she would. She would die for them. She is their captain now. And at this point, I wrote in big letters, character development.
I guess.
Unwarranted character development.
Yeah, I don't. It doesn't feel logical to me, but all right.
So they go back, and in a dramatic turn, Audrey and Imam make it to the skiff. So Fry and Riddick go back for them.
Right.
Audrey and Imam run ahead and make it to the skiff because Riddick distracts some of the bigger bats.
Okay.
He sees them, and he kind of like starts to make some noise and runs away. Just like they did back on the unnamed planet with the Spitfires. Fry goes for Riddick to try and help him, and she ends up getting stabbed in the back by a bigger bat.
They can stab?
They have like talons, and it just like slices through her.
Okay.
I think stabbed is the wrong word, but you know.
It assaults her with a deadly weapon.
Exactly. Riddick realizes that she just saved his life.
Right.
She's also dead, and he bolts back to the ship because she gave him just the time he needed. He crawls to the ship, and he takes off. So Riddick, Imam, and Audrey fly up into the shipping lane that they had abandoned in their crash earlier, and Riddick holds up John's holo badge. He says, call me Johns. Riddick died on that planet. That is the end of the book.
Nice.
Riddick died on that planet. Fry died. Imam and Audrey lived. Rashad, Hassan, Ali, Zeke, Shaza, Paris, and Johns are all dead. I have nothing to add to this right now as a closer.
I think that listening to you talk about this book probably ruined the movie for me.
Maybe.
Because anytime I watch the movie, I'm not thinking. And a lot of this works better in a movie than a book. But now that I'm like really thinking about the plot, it hurts.
It doesn't make sense.
It hurts.
The plot does not make any sense.
I feel like Riddick wasn't so obviously cold-hearted in the movie.
Right. They talked about it, but you never saw it.
Right. He was just, you didn't know what he was. You just had John's word to go on it.
Right.
So he was more of an enigma. This book makes him seem bipolar. Like, I don't know what he is.
Yeah. He throughout the book, he examines people's motives, but the author only gives it like half a sentence.
Yeah.
So you don't get enough insight as to what he's using it for. But he loves to gather information. He's effectively a good rogue.
Yeah. He's good at reading a situation and people and strategizing around that.
Yeah.
At the end of every episode of this show, the person who read the book must give the book a rating. Our rating system consists of 5 levels. At the bottom of the rating system is toilet paper. The book is only worth the physical material that it's made of. The next level is shampoo bottle. It's better than nothing. And then we have IKEA manual, competent but not necessarily entertaining. And then Kindle Pick, worth buying electronically and or discounted. And then finally our highest level, hardcover, instant classic, must buy. So Vin Diesel, what is your rating for Pitch Black?
That is an excellent question because my rating for this changed as I read it. The more I read of it, the worse it got.
Yeah, that happens on the show,
Yes.
is that our ratings will change wildly over the course of a book.
Even reading it and then talking about it, sometimes things change.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It didn't in this case because it couldn't, and I'll tell you why. It could go lower, but it's not toilet paper. It's
Okay.
not. It's got some benefit to it.
It's got a couple catchy lines.
A couple catchy lines. There's some good jokes in there. It is an interesting story,
Yeah.
even if it doesn't make any sense. I give this a shampoo bottle
Okay.
because it was almost an IKEA manual, except for the glaring mistake with the chains and the sunset direction,
Right.
which may or may not be just John's lying. The fact that the orrery makes no sense, and the fact that it's missing the plot twist, which I know exists, with Audrey being disguised as a boy and then revealed as a girl. In
Yeah.
this, she's just a girl, and that reveal has no meaning.
Right, yeah.
So, it is well written. It reads really quickly.
That's good.
All told, like just reading, not notating, but like just reading, maybe 2 hours, 2.5 hours.
Wow. Okay.
You could book through this, and I
Yeah.
mean that literally and figuratively. It is a very, very quick read.
Yeah.
It is not hard to understand. It flows really well. It flows very quickly. But there's little things like that that just made me stop and think for a few minutes and then move back and reread it a few times, that kind of thing. I will probably read it again.
Okay.
I will probably get angry and realize why I didn't read it in a long time.
Yeah.
But I watched the movie a couple of weeks ago. It's a fantastic movie. I highly recommend it if anyone, as long as you don't mind. It's kind of a bit of a thriller. It's not a horror movie, but it's a bit of a thriller.
Right, yeah.
Highly recommend it. The book, I don't recommend unless you love that character. If you love Riddick, you'd enjoy the book at least. It's not perfect, but you would enjoy it. If you enjoyed at least our discussion of this book, if not the book itself, we are doing a special episode for our Patreon. It is patreon.com/apage2far. You have to type that link in.
Right, it
Patreon.com.
doesn't come up on searches.
Right. It is patreon.com/apage2far. We're doing a special episode of The Chronicles of Riddick, this second book and movie in this series, which the movie is both mine and, oh my God, when did this turn into Beautiful Worlds? Like, it's one of our top favorite movies.
Yes.
This is the novelization of this movie, which is it's written by a different person, and it is significantly thicker than this book. So I have high hopes for it. But we're going to be doing that for Patreon. That should be coming out around the end of September. Right.
Sweet.
We also have social media. So hit us up on Instagram, Twitter. They're both at apage2far. That's apage2far. We do love listener feedback. You may have heard us a couple episodes ago. We talked about faithful listener All Seeing Eye. I just want to give him a shout out because he is somebody that I kind of bounce ideas off of too sometimes if I can't think of how to phrase something.
Uh-huh.
He's a good guy for that. Let us know. Let us know if you have feedback. Let us know if you enjoy the movie. If you hated this book, let us know if you hated the movie and you loved this book.
Tell us your favorite thing that Vin Diesel has ever done or said.
Exactly. Also, we're still looking for Bobo fan art.
Yeah, send us some fan art of Bobo.
Good Bobo.
Good Bobo, strong Bobo.
Strong Bobo. Well, that is all for today's episode, unless you have any closing thoughts.
No, it's hot. I'm leaving.
Bye, everyone.